Your muscles only have two functions. The first one is concentric and the second is eccentric. I'm going to explain to you today just the differences between the two and how to train them best to get the most out of your training. You might be wondering why I'm holding this water in my hand, if you can see it, because I know it's a little bit off camera. The reason I'm holding it is so I can illustrate to you the differences using a bicep curl, because it's kind of the easiest one to show on camera and just talk you through. So when we're looking at the bicep, it's a biarticular muscle, so it acts upon both joints, so it connects at both joints. The main function is going to be elbow flexion. So if we look at a bicep curl, we're going into elbow flexion now as we curl up. Right now, the bicep has gone through a concentric movement and it is in a shortened state. So now if I curl up as much as I can, the bicep is fully shortened. As soon as I start going down, this is the eccentric portion, and now the bicep is lengthening. So you can literally see it. And if you're leaner than me, because I'm not that lean, you'd be able to see it even better, obviously. So you can look at a bodybuilder when they perform any kind of exercise and you can see it really well. With this now, concentrically contracting, and then this would be considered an isometric, and then eccentric on the way down. So all it is just the muscle can only get longer or shorter, basically. This goes for every single muscle in the body. Now, you might be wondering, with that information, how can you actually make your training better? How is that going to carry over into your lifts? What current studies and science tells us is that the concentric is considerably harder than the eccentric. And you can test this yourself. If you go to the gym, you're going to fail concentrically before you fail eccentrically. The reason for that is just because the muscles are stronger on the eccentric portion. So you'd be able to lower a lot more weight than you'd actually be able to lift. And with that information being taken into account, and then if we also think about how muscles are built, we have to then think about how the body adapts. So it's only going to adapt when it has a stress to adapt to, or some kind of stimulus, which is, training your muscles and going to the gym and trying to get bigger. So the outdated idea of the eccentric and time under tension giving you more bang for your buck is just wrong. And it's just because we simply know that the human body needs to go through a kind of stress to grow. So if you are trying to grow on the portion that is the easiest, that doesn't really make sense compared to trying to grow on the portion which is the hardest. That is why you fail concentrically before you fail eccentrically. With that said, this is not to say completely disregard the eccentric. It's still an integral part of any lift, because with a steady and controlled eccentric, yes, the time and tension probably will contribute a little bit to the muscle gains, but the main reason we're going to control the eccentric is just to keep you safe and not injure yourself. You can imagine if you were doing a set of dumbbell flies or anything, if you're going like that with 20 or 30 kilo, you're asking to rip your shoulder off or tear your pec. So we still need to be following a good tempo on the eccentric. Obviously it's very dependent on the lift and the person. From anywhere from 2 to 3 or 4 seconds on most lifts is going to be pretty good. That's just an amount of time that's going to keep you safe, and it's just going to stop you from dive bombing into a lift or just tearing something off. Obviously that doesn't mean you're 100% safe. We're always running some kind of risk when you're getting under a bar or you're picking up a dumbbell. So it's just about reducing that risk as much as we can. Now that we know the concentric is harder, so this is where we're going to have the most stress, grow the most muscle, and the eccentric, we're not going to grow as much muscle, but it's still an important part. We now need to think about how to approach your next training session and what to kind of put the most emphasis on when you are going through your lifts. So when you next approach a bicep curl, instead of really trying to have a good mind-muscle connection and focus on a steady eccentric like that, you can just do a good 2 seconds. So up as fast as you can, then we're making use of compensatory acceleration training, CAT, as well, so you're getting even more bang for your buck. So I'm going to curl up as fast as I can, and then I probably won't really squeeze. You might do for a second, but studies also show, don't quote me on this because I'm not 100% sure on this part, but it doesn't actually improve any muscle growth or anything, because again, it's very easy to hold it there, but it's harder to lift it up. So very quick up into that position, and then 1, 2, maybe that was a little bit quick, but it's hard to do without a weight, you get the idea. Let me grab this water bottle. So if I was doing it, it's very hard because obviously the water bottle's swinging. Yeah, so probably wasn't the best example, but it's quite hard with a swinging weight. It's moving me all over the place. So 2 seconds is going to be a good amount of time. You're not wasting energy then, so you're actually going to have energy to push and progressively overload the weights you're lifting, which is going to be the biggest factor in growing whatever muscle you're trying to grow. So final takeaway, train the concentric really hard, really fast, but controlled. Eccentric just wants to be 2 to 4 seconds, depending on the lift. Find your sweet spot just to keep you safe. That's the main focus of it. Other than that, just apply this to all your accessories, maybe not your main lifts, depending on what your focus is. Try it out for a couple of weeks and just see the difference. I honestly think you will notice the difference pretty quickly, and you're just going to enjoy the training and feel a lot better, especially if you're somebody that likes going quite hard and pushing hard in the gym. If you're somebody that does prefer doing a lot of volume, this might not be the best style for you, but dropping the reps down from like 12, 15, not that that's a bad number to work at, but going down to a 4 to 8 can be quite refreshing, and I think the gains you can get from that can just really help push you along. So I know there's a lot of people that probably agree with that opinion, so if you're one of those people, please put it in the comments and we can have a little like debate about what the difference in the ideas and things like that. Other than that, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts and like the video.